It's alive!
How do we know she is alive?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
No wire hangers ever!
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Relax. It's all in bad taste.
I just wanted to have a conversation. I just want to talk.
About what?
About bad movies.
That's the entire point of what we're doing
I'm
here.
aware of that. That's the concept of the show. We're 11 episodes in, and if you don't... Actually, technically, we're more than 11 episodes. I keep telling people we're like 11 episodes in, but like I don't count the 0.5 full episodes.
All the
We're
spin-offs.
Like 22, all the spin-offs.
Despite them being like an hour long still.
All the Mockbusters are our own show. This is the Rad Taste Buds. We're a spin-off company that makes podcasts of our podcast, but just slightly, ever so slightly different.
Wait, so we own the original and the parody in that.
Why not? Hey, Ryan, I got a fact for you.
Oh, fucking what?
Did you know that the word Mockbuster, okay, that Mockbuster, right, what do you think when you hear that word?
Jesus, what? Mockbuster?
Yeah, what do you
Mock
think?
and Blockbuster?
Right, okay, well, you just stepped on my toes a little bit.
You asked the question. What were
But
you
I was
expecting? No, what were you
I was
expecting?
expecting you to play a little bit dumb.
I don't know what a Mockbuster
Mockbuster
is.
is a portmanteau of the words mock and bust, but no, mock and
You can't even do a correct self.
mock and blockbuster.
I already said it.
Okay, so so what happens is you take two words, you splice them together, and you have a new word. I think it's French. Hello, everyone, and welcome to... That was like really abrupt. I was just like, I'll just go straight into the intro, fuck it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aftertaste, the Bad Taste Buds supplementary show where I force my fiance to watch 3 unwatchable movies in a row and then talk to me about them for hours.
That's pretty much what we'd be doing anyway.
It's pretty much our life. Yeah, so I'm just trying my very hardest to get you to dump me before the wedding.
You're on the right track, don't worry. We're getting close.
I am your host, as always, Liam, and today I am joined by the fantastic Ryan. Say hi. Again.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Hannah and Jack managed to narrowly escape with their lives, but they don't have to live with me. You do, so fuck you. This is the first official Bad Taste Buds movie marathon. 3 movies, 270 minutes. We could watch one Lord of the Rings extended cut in this time. But I think we're using our time sufficiently by watching probably the worst films we're ever going to cover on this podcast. Like, just as far as, like, entertainment value, yeah. Potentially. I think we've got some surprises in here. But I don't know about you, but I'm not a massive fan of the Mockbuster.
Nah, there's one that jumps out at me, but I'm sure, in fact, betting you're going to get around to saying it at some point.
We'll see. Well,
I'll
see. I'm just turning into Pee-wee Herman.
I think my Mockbuster might surprise us. So the way it's working is we both know one of the movies we're going to watch today.
Snakes on a Train.
Snakes on a motherfucking train.
Yeah.
And then we each have a surprise for each other.
Surprise! I've gone absolutely bonkers with mine. Like, you're not safe whatsoever.
Oh, I've got a banger. I don't think you say these are going to be our worst, but like I personally am looking forward to it.
I'm really excited. I'm not that. So yeah, we're doing Snakes on a Train. The plan was originally to do a bunch of Asylum films, which we are going to get into kind of the history of Asylum really soon. But then we thought they're all kind of samey. They're all pretty much the same movie, different title. So yeah, we were like, let's branch out a bit. Mockbusters aren't just exclusive to Asylum. Let's look a little bit further afield. I think you're going to like my film.
I think you like mine. Mine requires subtitles.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's a foreign film, eh?
It's a foreign film.
Bit of culture to the podcast. Yeah, I fucking hate most Mockbusters. I think before we dive too far into what we like and dislike about the genre, I'm going to let Papa Liam tell you a story. Come sit on my lap and I'll read your story.
I'm scared of you.
Right, so a little bit of history on the Mockbuster. Mockbuster, it's an affectionate title for movies, probably better described as cheap, boring, shitty knockoffs. Basically made for the sole purpose of riding the hype train of those big budget Hollywood productions.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
get your name out there and hopefully someone will make a mistake and capitalize.
As we discussed on episode 11, oftentimes these knockoffs are egregiously tedious and just kind of dull. You can have there is the odd occasion. I mean, Mac and Me, for example, is still kind of my preferred movie of choice when it comes to would I rather watch this or E.T., I will probably always pick Mac and Me.
Well, that's not a Mockbuster, that's a Madverse.
No, that... What? Excuse me? What the fuck did you just say?
A Madverse.
What the fuck? No, I was not prepared whatsoever to hear that word. That's also a portmanteau. No, but Mac and Me is probably the pinnacle of the Mockbuster. It's definitely the one that I'm going to go to as kind of my favorite of the genre. The majority of them...
Not my favourite. Close, but not
all
my
right,
favourite.
all right. The majority of them I'm not a massive fan of. They usually release direct-to-video around about the same time that the blockbuster hits the cinema.
But I mean, on Asylum, when they do their parody movies, they always have an original storyline, so while they are...
I resent the word parody used in that sentence.
Yeah.
Because this ain't no Leslie Nielsen shit. You know, you're not going to see... You're not going to see Marlon Wayans anywhere. Let's just call them what they are. Rip-offs.
Rip-offs.
That's the only way to really... categorize, I think. Sorry, what were you saying?
But at least it's not I'm never going to watch any of them because they're cheap, tacky, and terrible.
But people do. This is what I want to find out.
They are original stories for the most part on Asylum.
No, they're fucking not. Are you serious?
It's the same.
We're going to watch one today called Snakes on a Train. You can't say it's an original story just by changing the setting.
However... unlike the mafia man being arrested and put on an airplane by Samuel Jackson, a lady does not want to marry someone, falls in love with the wrong person. Her family curses her with snaky indigestion.
Okay.
That's original.
I don't even like Snakes on a Plane. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I think Snakes on a Plane is a piece of shit.
Well, you're motherfucking wrong.
Do you like Snakes on a Plane?
I do like Snakes on a Plane. There's a lot of nostalgia there.
Liam's hot take on it. Snakes on a Plane is one of the most boring fucking movies you'll ever sit through. Like, I don't think anyone actually watched that movie past the trailer and was like, yeah, that's actually a good, entertaining ride. Like, it's like Anaconda, but shit as fuck. Sorry, not a fan.
I mean...
I know a lot of people are. I've had a lot of conversations.
The Money Trail disagrees with you.
Yeah, no, you know what? It didn't do that well. It didn't do that well. It was this big marketing hype. Snakes on a Plane, it was not a financial success.
Really?
Bring that into the conversation. Yeah, it did not do very well. We saw it this year with the release of Godzilla vs. Kong. Obviously, the straight-to-DVD counterpart from Asylum Pictures. Are you ready for this, Ryan? Ape vs. Monster.
Oh,
you cannot make this shit up.
Inventive.
See, you say that, but they are actually they're inventive enough to always manage to get around most of the lawsuits, the copyright lawsuits that are thrown their way.
Well, like everyone, right? Have they been successfully sued yet?
So there's been a few filed. I think specifically there was one in 2013 when Frozen came out against the Studio Phase 4 films.
They did one against Frozen?
Well, no. So Disney did one against Phase 4 Films for releasing a film called Frozen Land with a dubiously, suspiciously similar fucking font and DVD cover, and I mean a media cash grab. Well, what they try to do is they try to get the straight to DVD out before the actual, or while the movie's in cinema. So it's like
beforehand for the most part. If they can, it'll usually come out a couple months beforehand. Get that hype train up while it's being talked about. The adverts, trailers are everywhere. I don't know how people think, oh, this is on DVD already. It's not even out in the cinemas. Let's purchase.
You know for a hot fact that your grandma, if she was,
it's happened. It's fully happened. I've had the fake up bought for me.
I don't. Do you remember what it was, or is this a long distance lost memory?
Long distance, like the dinosaur one. I also had that was a knockoff.
I remember renting one from Blockbuster when I was young, and again, Blockbuster for our young listeners was a Netflix before Netflix.
But importantly, did they win any money on that suit?
Fully didn't even tell you what movie I rented from Blockbuster. You just entirely cut my story off. I remember really wanting to see Anaconda, and I ended up not accidentally, but I was like, this looks close enough. Renting a film called King Cobra, which I think has Mr. Miyagi in, from what I remember.
Interesting choice.
But yeah, anyway, what were you saying about Mockbusters and
the thing we were actually talking about?
Well, yeah.
Did they actually win anything in that series? Because in 2013, Warner's also took them in, as did New Line Cinemas, for the Hobbit knockoff.
Well, yeah, we talked about this briefly on the main episode.
Oh, we did, yeah. So they changed it to Lord of the Elves from Age of the Hobbits.
Yeah, but I don't know if there was any money exchange.
No, they didn't win. They did. they've gotten away with it every single time.
Because I don't know whether it's worth it or not. Like,
well, no, the companies are trying. In 2008, Century Fox did it. In 2012, Universal Pictures tried it, and they just got around it with the Universal one. They called it American Battleship, and they claimed like it infringed on their film Battleship, so they just changed the name to American Warship. That's how they got around Battleship. It. And like they were saying, it is. She wasn't that movie. It's not a direct copy of the story plot. The plot changes enough narratively to get away with it, even though the premise is the same, so it's fine. They're saying, like, everyone does it, we're just not as good at being subtle about it.
They're just a bit more brazen.
That's a direct quote, pretty much. A bit of a paraphrase.
I don't hate it. So let's talk a little bit about one of my all-time favorite Thai colloquialisms. I say Thai, but it's actually like Thai English colloquialisms is the term. I don't know if you'll have heard of this. Is the term same but different? It's like you spend any amount of time, and anyone who's ever spent any amount of time in Thailand will know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if we have a saying that correlates to it, but it's just a really commonly used phrase over there to use, like, to describe things that might be a bit foreign to tourists and say, oh, it's like this thing, it's like this English thing that you'll know, but it's same, but it's different. And this is like I always feel like the Mockbuster are like the movie equivalent of the same but different kind of colloquialism. That's like one of those, like, if you squint hard enough, if you smoke just the right amount of weed, you might be able to convince your elderly nan that this is a real movie. Is kind of the concept. It's
like if the main characters from the original met the characters from the Mockbusters, they would experience the uncanny valley effect.
They would. It would be like that, like an alternate timeline. Like, this could have been the darkest timeline kind of moment. As far as like best Mockbusters go, though, like, because there are some that I don't hate. I know you were talking before about your favorite, quote unquote, favorite Mockbuster, and I don't know whether we have the same one.
Oh, mine's Birdemic.
Yeah,
easy.
I enjoyed the fuck out of Birdemic. Like, it's a bit of a headache and it's a bit nauseating.
A bit of a headache. The birds just screech incessantly at a very loud decibel level.
Yeah, Birdemic was kind of a bit of a sleeper hit when it came out. And again, obviously a direct rip-off of the Birds. Only with solar panels and a energy conscious message.
It's so preachy.
But Birdemic for me is like a solid 7 out of 10 on the best worst scale. It's never going to be like top tier for me, but it's good, and it's very distinctly Mockbuster. It's got that crazy low budget. It's got that bare bones plot.
Birds are made on Microsoft Paint. It's excellent.
I kind of, and I'm excited. We are going to cover Birdemic on the podcast one day. But yeah, it's just the majority of them for me anyway, and the majority of the ones kind of coming from picture houses like the Asylum just don't hit the mark for me. Let's do a little bit of history on Mockbusters before we get too much into the Asylum. I mean, Mockbusters have a long and storied history in Hollywood, kind of dating all the way back to like the late 50s.
Oh, so around that time's got all the creature features. They were a big thing.
A lot of like the Hammer horror and stuff like that. There you would see like the Universal monsters. For example, you'd have studios directly ripping off things that were. I mean, these creatures, a lot of them are in the public domain, so it's very easy to rip them off. So you can have numerous amounts of rip-offs of Dracula. You can have numerous amounts of rip-offs of Frankenstein.
Oh my god, yes, Lord, Creature of the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man.
There's actually a movie, a Spanish movie, The Monster of Pedras Blancas. That's a clear.
Clear.
I'm probably butchering that name to start with, but
almost certainly.
It's a clear derivative of Creature from the Black Lagoon. Down to the point where they even have the same visual effects departments working on the film.
That's commitment.
Yeah, you look at like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman was then responsible for Village of the Giants. Land That Time Forgot spawned Legend of the Dinosaurs. The Mockbuster isn't a new phenomenon by any stretch. It's just been a very easy one to ignore up to a point. And then everything changed when the Asylum attacked.
I don't like them. As a matter of principle, the only thing they do is exploit people who are too dumb to understand what they're doing. An Asylum, despite their claims of like innocence, are one of the biggest proponents of this. Now, they got started in 1997 with shitty horror releases that weren't gaining any traction whatsoever.
Yeah, they weren't a Mockbuster studio for a while, right? For the first 10 years of their longevity, they weren't even interested in doing Mockbusters at all. It was low budget, low rent horror films that no one has ever heard of or ever seen.
When was the first one? Like 2010s at some point?
No. So it was a little bit earlier than that. I think it was like 2005 when they released to coincide with the Spielberg hit War of the Worlds. They basically released their own version because again, public domain, you can do what you want. It's H.G. Wells. At that point, that's just free game adaptation wise. They released before the Spielberg War of the Worlds came into cinemas their own version, and it actually did phenomenally. That was kind of the beginning of the end as far as
that was
quality.
They got that in, they got the money in, and they literally said to themselves, "Let's reassess our business model because something we're doing is not working."
Yeah, that's selling out for you.
It's worked for them. I don't appreciate it because it's only the vulnerable who get tricked, but it is fucking working.
You wouldn't do the exact same thing if you had the power.
Or the brains, or the idea.
Yeah, you're right. The Asylum have zero fucking shame. And there is like a love-hate relationship there with me because at one part I do hate the fact that they're exploiting all little old ladies into buying their grandkids shitty knockoffs of Disney films. But at the same time, if that's the way you got to make money, then, you know what, more power to you.
Yeah, man.
Fucking, you can't, don't hate the player, hate the game.
I think it's like...
Is that the saying?
That might as well. It's a saying. It's your saying now.
It is now.
But they usually make the money back within 3 months, I think it is.
Because their budgets are nothing. Their budgets are like a pack of chewing gum.
Here's some gaffer tape, there's some cardboard, make yourself a dress you expect on set in 10 minutes.
On the one hand, fair play, they have a genius fucking business model. And for those of you who are not in the know, Asylum, it's as Ryan was saying, it's an American independent film company founded was it 97 you were saying?
97.
Yeah, by this guy, David Michael Latt, sorry. Under the guise of releasing straight-to-DVD videos to capitalize on the success of Hollywood. It's pretty much as simple as it gets. Yeah, some of the movie titles alone under the banner of Asylum are just so fucking absurd and just like zero, minimum effort, C-, you tried, maybe.
Yeah, they had zero effort put into these, but they have an absolute fuck ton in their catalog.
I adore some of them. Let's just read out some of them. So we've got Titanic 2, which, genius. Snakes on a Train, which we are watching very shortly. Pirates of Treasure Island. Like, you just blended two things there. And
just hope for the best.
Yeah. AVH, Alien versus Hunter. Have you got any faves over there?
Well, they made Almighty Thor instead of Thor.
Yeah. Well, you've got to get that Marvel money.
Nice. Good one. Transmorphers
actually looks kind of interesting. Like, there's part of me that wants to watch Transmorphers.
Well, it can't be any worse than Transformers.
You leave Michael Bay's name out your mouth.
Well, like, yeah, if they can't make like a direct copy of it, they've just went, let's just slap a number 2 on the end. Like Titanic, War of the Worlds they did it with.
Was War of the Worlds 2, was it?
War of the Worlds 2, yeah.
Electric Boogaloo. But the absolute, like, 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
No, let's add an extra 10,000 leagues.
This is my favourite of all of the titles because it is just literally like, what was the original called? 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Well, we're going to go deeper than that. Fuck you. We're James Cameron.
So this is pretty much their entire catalogue. Their originals aren't any more original in title. So you've got like Mega Shark, 2-headed Shark Attack, 3-headed Shark Attack, 5-headed Shark Attack.
And I might be wrong, but is Asylum the Sharktopus guys? They do Sharktopus, I think. And I like the idea of Sharktopus. It's a shark octopus. I feel like I've said the word Sharktopus far too many times for it to be a real word. The most
deadly of like all animals.
Well, you can't talk about Asylum. You can't talk about Asylum without discussing their flagship franchise. And I kind of hesitate to do so because I fucking hate them. But we're going to have to talk about Sharknado at some point, and I think now is the time to talk about Sharknado. We're not watching it because fuck that movie. I have a personal vendetta against Sharknado, and I don't know how you feel about Sharknado.
I've never seen it. I don't want to see it. I don't intend to see it. Don't even say that you're going to show me.
The thing is, I don't think I could. I don't think I could physically watch Sharknado again because Sharknado annoys the fuck out of me. I've only seen the first one, but Sharknado was that. Let's capitalize on best worst cinema. Let's be those douchebags who make fun of kind of genuine artists and genuine people who, like, fair enough, most best worst films aren't great. That's the whole premise of the show. Whatever. But these people are just capitalizing on, like, falsities and, like, making their own best worst movies without putting any of the effort. You can't make a best worst movie. It's not a possibility to manufacture a best worst movie.
They're going to keep trying. It was a commercial success, so they did actually do it.
They did 5 of them, Ryan. There are 5 Sharknado films.
It's not good. They absolutely should stop doing
But you haven't seen it and you already know it's not good, so that's proof enough that it's not good. Ryan doesn't need
But
to see
then,
it to know
if
it's not
I
good.
were to show someone a genuine best worst movie who liked Sharknado, and there's a good chance they'd just be like, "What the hell am I watching?" It's like, you understand Sharknado? That's literally so on the nose. You might as well have punched the shark in it.
Well, that's what you're meant to do. I think you're meant to either poke them in the eyes or
Go for the eyes, don't go for the nose.
I
You ever
thought you
try to
meant-
punch something underwater?
Oh, that's a good point. I thought you meant to bop them on the nose, not even punch them, just to give them a little slap.
No. So go for the eyes, go for the gills.
Slippy slap. I don't want to spend too long on Sharknado because Sharknado, for my money, there's no real value to Sharknado. It's not entertaining and well made enough to classify as a real movie, but it's not earnest or honest enough to classify as best worst. So it just kind of sits in this middle ground of, why did you make this? There are so many good, bad movies that you could actually enjoy.
At least to give Tara Reid a movie.
Tara Reid doesn't need any more movies. Tara Reid was done in 1999.
But the money must have dried up by now.
Nobody wanted to see Tara Reid past American Pie. Let's be fucking honest. And what this thing? If it has this like weird Uwe Boll vibe to it, I don't know whether it's just
the fuck is Uwe Balls?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, not Uwe Balls. Like that's a completely different guy. You don't know who Uwe Boll is? I feel like now you're showing your
My uncultured.
uncultured swine.
You're swine.
Uwe Boll is like the German Michael Bay, but way worse, and is an actual nightmare. Of a
Oh,
human.
right, yeah,
Like-
because that's somebody I would actively seek out information
okay,
on.
so Uwe Boll did The House of the Dead, the
Oh,
video game. He did
fuck.
Alone in the Dark. He's done a lot of movies that we are going to cover eventually on this podcast.
Oh, the movies, not the games.
No,
I was like, oh, he made the games. Fuck,
the
that's
games.
cool.
But he made a lot of video game adaptations. He made there's a movie called Postal that he made, which I know is based off a video game series about a guy who just literally goes postal. You know that saying, going postal.
Going postal.
And he just fucking murders everyone, and that's the whole plot of the movie. But
So is he like pretty much entirely the reason why every fucking video game adapted movie is fucking
No.
awful?
So it's not just. It's not. We can't entirely just blame Uwe Boll for that. Jesus Christ, he's the guy.
He's that guy.
He's the guy who clearly knows what he likes, and it's very teenage boy.
Can't write a plot. Can't do a narrative.
Well, it's like just tits and boobs and blood. Like that's his entire premise for every movie he ever makes, and that's fine if you're a 13-year-old boy and you have the attention span of a
13-year-old boy.
Boy, yeah. But Uwe Boll's like, as a human being, he's a bit of a nightmare. Like he asks like film critics to fight him in the ring because he's like this super crazy, skitzed out fucking film director who will defend.
That'll be your invitation next. Go a couple rounds.
Thing is, like, I don't know if I could ever confidently say I've sat fully through an Uwe Boll film. We are going to have to for this pod. I've never sat through House of the Dead fully. I've never sat through Alone in the Dark. I've never sat through any of, like, he did Blood Rain.
I've never even attempted these.
They're going to be the more challenging films I think we're going to cover on this pod. But again,
Expanding my horizons.
Expanding thine horizons. Yeah, Sharknado has that feel to me, that kind of just short attention span cinema. There's nothing really of value there. But obviously people liked it and it spawned 5 sequels, so what the fuck do I know? I guess. It's not just Asylum though as well. There are other kind of more prominent, maybe not as prominent as Asylum, but there are some very prominent movie studios. One of the studios that does animated mockbusters specifically is this studio called Good Time Entertainment.
Oh, fuck, right. So, on the whole, they are terrible. They are classic for giving a terrible experience and a bad time. However, Rudolph, the motherfucking red-nosed reindeer.
So I got the list of films up and Ryan freaked out when I got there was a 1998 film.
It's so good.
I have no idea what this movie is, and I don't know if anyone else will know what this movie is, because it just looks...
Mate, you just have a look at that cast
Whoopi
list.
Goldberg's
Whoopi
in
motherfucking Goldberg plays the Snow Queen, and she is fucking fire.
John Goodman as Santa Claus.
Right.
Debbie Reynolds as Mrs. Claus.
This movie is fucking great. It is the standard Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
The Red-Nosed Reindeer, lad.
It's your typical Rudolph movie. They mock him, he flies the sleigh, etc., etc. But fuck me, the cast is great. The story's fucking great.
How is
so exciting?
How is it 83 minutes long?
Oh, we need to watch it together. I can't believe there's a
I
whole...
don't think we do.
The elves do a little musical number and they start caroling.
You've not sold it to me so far. Yeah, they do a lot of they kind of stopped. Their last movie was 2003, so they must just went under at some point. But they did a lot of Disney knockoffs. They've done an Alice in Wonderland knockoff.
Oh, I've seen the amount of cunty Cristo.
Yep. The Count of Monte Cristo.
That's the one that was trash. No
How have
wonder
you
they
seen
tanked.
these? Why have you seen these?
I don't know, my family's cheap, apparently.
Well, apparently.
I live below the poverty line, Liam.
Apparently
Can't all be
so.
middle class.
Sorry.
Your real movies.
Yeah, they're kind of big in the industry. Well, they were. Bye. Sorry.
Bye, Felicia.
Similarly, Video Bryn Quindijo.
Say that 4 more times.
Apologies to any of our Hispanic listeners, all 3 of you. I've fully butchered that name. Bryn Quindi.
And yeah, he's going to try it again.
They're a Brazilian animated studio that, again, they got into some hot water for their direct-to-video kind of rip-offs of DreamWorks and Pixar movies. Some of the films under the moniker of Video Bryn Quindejo. Again, I hope I'm doing that right.
You definitely not.
Little and Big Monsters is a rip-off of DreamWorks' Monsters vs. Aliens.
That was barely a movie in itself.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie whatsoever. Little Cars is a rip-off of Pixar's Cars series. I believe there's a multiples here in the Little Cars series.
Well done.
Well, let's do it. Right. I'm going to read the next few out. You've got to guess what they're rip-offs of. So, guess, what's Tiny Robot?
Robots.
No, it's not actually.
Oh,
You're
it's
fucking
not.
wrong, idiot.
What is it?
Wall-E.
Oh, fuck.
Doi.
Mine's better. I thought they had a running theme here of just putting the word little or small in front of an otherwise existing movie.
But also, who remembers robots?
I remember. Clearly me.
Name 3 people who remembers robots.
I don't love it, but I remember it. It was big at the time.
Okay, you're going to have to guess the next 2 as well. Ratatouille.
Oh, I don't know. It's just something to do with my sleep. Actually, I'm not going to get cocky again.
Yeah, I was going to say
Ratatouille before I start.
It is Ratatouille.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm glad.
Last one. What's up? Balloon to the rescue.
Are you joking?
I like the subtitle on that. Like, it couldn't just leave it at what's up. It had to be like, balloon to the rescue.
Well, I guess if you say what's up, you're going to think some teen 90s drama, aren't you?
What's up?
What's up?
What is... You haven't answered the question.
I'm guessing it's Up.
It is indeed Pixar's Up.
Of course it is. So that's the one I got. That's what Granny got me. That bitch.
That bitch. That dirty whore. There's just something so ridiculously shameless about all of these companies. And yet... good on them. They're doing better than me. What am I doing?
Yeah,
Making
man.
a podcast?
I mean, we live in a capitalist world, so let's...
You may as well ride that capitalist wave all the way to the bank, my friend. They have this, just change one word in the title rule. Not different enough to where we won't fool the elderly.
And Hannah, these are all quick, easy, and disappointing at the end of the night.
Not even here to defend herself. Are you fucking serious? To be fair, she won't listen to this. She's not on this episode. She won't give a shit. Hannah?
Yes, Liam.
Hannah, are you there?
That's how I think Hannah sounds like.
Just like Zelda Rubinstein from fucking Poltergeist. Oh my god.
Hannah, don't go into the clinic.
The clinic? Fucking hell. Just as a bit of a reference as to how cheaply these things are churned out, the original DreamWorks Puss in Boots was made. It took about 4 years to make and about $130 million budget.
Damn, that's a lot of dollars for a Met movie.
That's a lot of dollar. I like Puss in Boots. I've never watched it twice, but I liked it. Video Brinquedo, or whatever the fuck its name is.
Video Brinquedo.
That's the one. It's not even a hard word. It's two syllables. Brinquedo. Video Brinquedo, I've got it now. They made the exact same movie, the exact same name, because again, public domain, you can. 6 months, less than $1 million. And they made a fuck ton of it. It's such an easy business model that I don't feel like...
It does make you appreciate mainstream Hollywood a little bit more, knowing that at least they are trying to put out entertaining movies.
It's that guy on the street trying to hand you his fucking mixtape, please leave me alone.
Kids, I don't want to buy a tape.
Want to buy Puss in Boots? No, thank you. Please leave me alone.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get this shit show underway.
I'm always fucking ready to watch a shitty movie, regardless of its quality or earnestness or whatever you want to call it.
Those are not the words I would have chosen.
I know, because none of the bad movies we watch are really earnest.
All the ones we watch, not these movies.
No, that's why I said, despite its lack of earnestness, should I say.
Yes, despite that. We'll have a great time. It's me, you, and a dog. What's not to fucking love?
Me, you, and a dog coming to ABC this summer.
Still betting 2.5 Men.
We're going to start with, what's not? Let's be fucking honest. Big Bang Theory is not better than 2.5 Men.
That's dangerous territory for this.
Friends is not better than 2.5 Men.
Are you trying to get us cancelled?
How I Met Your Mother is not better than 2.5 Men.
Not necessarily worse. just all the same pile of garbage.
All the same show. So let's get on with our first movie of the night. The sensational, slithery, serpentine...
The sensational,
shit
slithery,
show.
serpentine shit show.
That is Snakes on a Train.
Oh, it looks... I've seen trailers, I've seen reviews, I've seen everything but the movie. This is my last hurdle on this, and I am fucking excited. It looks so fucking bad. And personally, I'm excited to see if she gets over this curse.
And we're going to save film 2 and 3 for the second half of the pod. So you'll find out what we're watching very shortly. We'll see you soon, guys. If you're watching with us, good fucking luck. Go, let's fucking do this shit. It's late and I'm tired and I hate this movie.
Oh, one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
The Crows Have Eyes... Right, so hold on. Me and Ryan have just returned from watching The Crows Have Eyes 3, The Croning. I know that's a Schitt's Creek joke for anyone who's of the Rose persuasion.
It's okay, I speak a little bit of their language.
Thank you, Moira. Thank you, Moira Rose over there. No, honestly, what the fuck did we just witness? It was maybe the most boring thing I've ever seen on celluloid.
For a film that had so many snakes and a train, there was so few snake shots.
There was just so... I would say... Right.
So watching this...
I need a few times to process. I need like a few minutes to process where my mind's at because it's just not anymore.
I'm glad I started reading the synopsis before I watched it. I didn't finish the synopsis.
Do you want to give us a synopsis for the people out there who care about snakes on a train?
It was so hard to follow, but basically... Fiancé and fiancée have had to run away together because the family disapproves of their relationship. The lady is cursed with snaky indigestion.
Literally.
She keeps burping up snakes every 5 minutes. The boyfriend is a shaman in training and is collecting the snakes in a jar because the part of her essence, they're trying to skip a train to Los Angeles where his uncle, the full shaman, can put the snakes back in the body in the correct order. It goes tits up. In the end, all the snakes kill very few people. Guns do more killings than snakes do killings.
There's this whole like subplot of there's like a drug deal going on, like a border drug deal. There's a few political moments in Snakes on a Train that I wanted to brush up on, and like immigration is one of them. Gun control, I think this movie's trying to say a lot. For all of the issues still pertaining to America at the moment.
Are they doing that, or are they just picking up what the easiest stereotypes are? But like, there was a character there, and he was just like Cholo, and he just every other. He said 2 words, and all 6 of them were essay and Cholo.
It was egregiously bad. I spent the majority of the runtime, the 90 minutes, and I can't stress how much that doesn't feel like 90 minutes.
That was only 90 minutes.
I spent most of the time making a list of other ways I could have spent the 90 minutes instead. So I already got 3 because my attention span is 0 at the minute. I could have cleaned this entire room pretty thoroughly. I could have probably done a workout. I could have watched 5 TED Talks in the space of time that it took me to watch Snakes on a Train.
The second 2 you definitely could have done. The first one, however, I think you need longer than 90 minutes.
Okay, so this was directed by the brothers Mervis, which not sure what kind of grandiosity they're going for with that name. 2 people directed this movie too, and most movies only get 1, and yet have some semblance of...
You'd think they would like block each other and be like, I know you just said that and you think it's a great idea, but is it though? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they couldn't say no to each other and it just became the spiral of bad decisions.
Oh, maybe.
But even down to the equipment was terrible, the microphones.
Yeah.
Everyone was at different noise levels and pitches that I can't talk. I can't judge. First they were like muffly and then not muffly, and then the soundtrack was louder than the actual voices.
It was some student film AV going on there. Like there was full scenes where you just couldn't understand a word that any of the characters were saying because the soundtrack was cranked up so high and the dialogue was cranked down so low that it was just like, I don't know what these characters are saying. I'm not entirely sure.
And they made some weird choices dialogue-wise. 2 main characters speak Spanish and then they speak fluent English as well. But they'll be talking to characters they know only speak English and decide to speak in Spanish. but then speak to each other when they're alone in English.
However, I do love the fact that we were watching this on YouTube, because if you really, really want to find snakes in a train, you can just go as far as YouTube and you can find the whole fucking movie. I don't know why you would.
There's no subtitles though, so
No,
if
but
you
this is
don't
it, like,
speak
you
Spanish,
forced
you'll
us
have
to
to
watch.
make up a few lines.
You forced us to watch the first 10 minutes of this film twice because you were desperate to find the fucking subtitles, and I was just watching, like,
I was just curious.
the whole movie's not going to be in Spanish, Ryan. You cool?
I still had to make up a good 40 lines of script for myself.
You probably made up a better film doing that than the filmmakers who made this film. So you know what? I saved you from having to read the actual dialogue.
The effects were bad. The acting was bad.
The majority of the first 10 minutes is just random people vomiting snakes. So that's just kind of your litmus test of whether or not, and again,
the sludge from Troll 2 comes out of the mouth, and a few wormy looking snakes. The snakes grow at an exponential rate if they escape the jars. But it's just the fiance for most of the movie, putting snakes in jars after whispering to them. That's it. The snakes get a couple of people. You see a couple scenes where it goes into people's veins.
I was at the beginning, the first 20 minutes or so, I was so confused that I almost felt like the film wasn't ever going to let me get bored, because I was kind of engrossed. I was like, this makes no sense, and nothing that's happening on screen, it makes any logical sense with what my eyeballs know of how human beings work, or things, I don't know, scenes interact, or conversations go. And I was just I was so confused that I was like, right, I'm entertained, I'm curious. And then it's once they just forget about the snakes existing and they just go to, right, this is people shooting each other now, drug deals, woo, subplots, no need. There's a full scene in the middle that I guess you could classify as a sex scene, maybe? I don't know if sex scenes
it was soft, it was booby.
Just booby.
There were some odd choices made, even narratively wise. I understand she's cursed, they're trying to get to LA to solve the curse. However, when they get on this train to cross the border, a random white childhood friend happens to be on the train in the stowaway cart along with them. And it's a total coincidence that he's there, and it's so strange.
Leaps in logic like that I think are just so consistent with these types of films. There was clearly a rush to get this script done. It was one of those things that was probably passed over once in the editing room and was like, right, is there any continuity errors? Who cares? Rush it in.
We don't give a shit. About an hour in, and there was still very little snake attacks. We
paused it. We were like, right, what time are we on? Has anything happened?
Very little had happened in that time period. It got to the end. The last 5 minutes is basically the fiance lady turning into a giant snake, Alma, and eating the train. And that scene is just people running to the front of the train to jump out of the doors. And then her childhood friends, magic powers, shittiest CGI tornado, and then the snake being sucked into the tornado. And then he wanders off. It's I'm going to LA. That moment was earned. It meant anything. It meant nothing. This film meant nothing. This is why we hate Mockbusters.
So you're saying all this as if it was a negative, but that 5 last minutes to me was the film I wanted to see.
It's barely 5 minutes, though. It's not even 5 minutes, a minute.
But that has the level of self-awareness, and that has the level of campness that I always appreciate from these films. But the rest, honestly, don't bother. If this is one of those recommendation things, I would say 100% do not bother with even considering watching this film. There's zero entertainment value up until that last 2 minutes. And you're right, I was being really generous with 5. It's more like 2 minutes. Even that is bare bones, not even that entertaining.
Yeah, man, do yourself a favor and just go watch Good Times Rudolph movie.
Good Times Rudolph.
The Rudolph movie is much better than Snakes on the Train.
I feel like this has endeared me a little bit more to Snakes on a Plane, because that, again, as we talked about on the kind of before we started watching, that's not one of my. I do not appreciate that film.
But at least it's competent and stylized.
At least it has a point.
At least it has normal and working microphones.
This one is a firm no from me. This is going to be a 1 out of 10. Stay away.
Oh,
stay away. Stay away.
No, this is absolute poison. Avoid it at all costs.
Avoid. Do not watch Snakes on a Train, please.
Next.
So what are we doing next, Ryan? What's the plan for part 2?
Picked out mine specially for you. I actually put a lot of thought into this. It's probably not going to be good. It's 2.5 hours long. However,
2.5 fucking hours. Wait, no. What? No, I'm rejecting it now.
I didn't realize when I picked it, but I fully put thought into this. So it is the Bollywood version of Freddy Krueger called Mahakal, and it looks
fucking sneaky.
It looks exactly what you would expect it to look like.
I need a minute. I need a full minute to calm myself because this sounds like
You're going to need more than a minute.
It feels like this might be my new favorite film, and I don't even know anything about it.
It's got everything you want. It's horror. It's
So
Bollywood.
when you say it's the Bollywood Freddy Krueger, so it's literally Nightmare on Elm Street, right? What's the crack? Do we know?
Mate, it's Bollywood. I don't think you can compare it to
never seen
anything.
a Bollywood film.
Never. Oh no, they are excellent. I watched the great one where a man dies and resurrects as a fly, and the guy that's creeping on his girl is like getting his shit tore up by this fly, and it ends in this fuck off massive fight scene where this guy just shooting up his apartment trying to fuck this fly over.
So it's a remake of Jeff Goldblum's The Fly.
The sequel.
The Bollywood entirely.
The Bollywood Part
Mockbusters.
2 back alley knockoff.
Well, I'm pretty excited to watch. What was it?
Mahakal.
Mahakal?
Yeah.
2.5 hours, Ryan.
2.5 hours.
You realise what you're doing to me.
Made in 1994, but I'm kind of expecting the camera quality of a 1940s movie.
I mean, there's some really...
And not even a good 1940s movie, yeah.
There's some really pretty well-made 1940s movies. But yeah, no, I'm all about Bollywood Freddy Krueger. So you had me at Bollywood Freddy Krueger.
Right.
So
See,
cool.
you are welcome. I've put so much thought in this. I knew exactly what you would like.
A lot more thought than Snakes in a Train put into anything. So yeah, thank you for
Pressure's on for you now. Come up with a good one.
I know, now I'm worried. I feel like we should have done mine first. It's not as exciting as Bollywood Freddy Krueger. Lovely, guys. If you can find a copy of Mahakal. It's
on YouTube, 1994.
Perfect.
Get cracking. Meet us back here.
If you're a fucking moron.
Learn the lyrics if you can. Sing along as we go. Learn some dance moves.
We should do a sing-along episode.
A full dance routine. Get the exercise in. You can get that workout done that you miss watching Snakes on the Train.
Ah, that's a good point, yeah. Okay. Right, we'll be back very shortly with our review.
See you after the sweat, guys.
Bye.
And what kind of all singing, all dancing, fresh Freudian nightmare was that?
3, 4, better lock your doors.
Mahakal is coming.
I'll tell you what. That Mahakal, you gotta watch out for that one, Ryan.
Oh yeah,
get you in your dreams.
There's trouble.
He's
trouble.
He's trouble. I'll be entirely honest. I was probably equal parts hypnotized by this film as I was just crying into my pillow, hoping it would stop.
I absolutely had to take a Ritalin just to sit through
2.5 hours of movie of like not even just like.
I know I picked it, and I still think I'm going to win because it was something, but not the something I wanted. I picked it for you, so I guess
really enjoyed it. For me,
I guess I did do a good job in that regard, but for me, it was nightmare.
And what a good one to pick for me as far as like my first Bollywood film as well. Like you can consider this Virginity sufficiently pop.
Oh, well and truly.
This was like deep end, straight in kind of deal right here. I think that's with any Bollywood film. I don't think you can sit down and watch a Bollywood for beginners. I guess Slumdog Millionaire is probably a Bollywood for beginners, right? That's probably the closest to Bollywood for beginners you're going to get.
Yeah, it's like going to Wagamamas though, and then expecting like authentic food.
Did you hear that, Danny Boyle? you are subpar. Fuck you. Right, yeah. So Mahakal, let's do a quick roundup as to what the fuck this film's about.
I'll let you.
Plot-wise, it's a shot-for-shot remake of the first film with Bollywood musical numbers spliced in. Like, and when it's not absolutely genius for just being a blatant rip-off, it's nauseating. Like, when the film cuts from scene to scene, like the way they cut each scene was like whiplash defined. Like, we might be enjoying
that scene's over now.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, we've been enjoying a nice serene moment by the lake, and then within milliseconds, we're watching fucking our protagonist being sexually assaulted in the most viciously horrendous way possible.
And not just every scene.
Well, this one thing I can't really appreciate from this, and I know this was in 94, but I feel like this has aged terribly. Like,
yeah,
it's like almost like borderline insensitive and mean-spirited how it portrays, like, I don't know, women, for example, in films where there are 3 sexual assault scenes, like pretty close within each other.
I mean, even just like just sat in the classroom and the camera just pans in on her breasts and zooms
very uncomfortable. And like this feels less than 90s. This feels like early 70s kind of misogyny.
Differences between this and Elm Street are basically Mahakal he doesn't diddle the kids. He just sacrifices them for power.
OG Freddy didn't diddle the kids. Let's get this right out there. OG Freddy he was a child killer.
He was just a monster.
He was just he only killed them, right? He didn't diddle them. Like
he's not true evil.
He's not true evil. That's like there's like a ring of hell, like Dante's Inferno. There's a section of hell for kid diddlers and kid murderers, and it's slightly above.
But Mahakal is a warlock, basically sacrifices them for power.
Yeah,
it's very misogynistic.
Very misogynistic.
And that's pretty much the only difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
apart from the budget,
down to like characterization in the actors that they chose to cast in each role. Like we literally have like, oh, this is Bollywood Johnny Depp. Oh, and this is Bollywood Heather Langenkamp. Like it's just exactly the exact same fucking movie.
Oh, fuck. The thing I did forget, I think a major difference is Canteen and his two brothers.
Right, so yeah, there are some elements that are new. Whether or not they're beneficial to the plot or interesting or just less than tolerable. So Canteen is basically the comic relief, and he's obsessed with Michael Jackson, and that's his entire personality.
He's going to be an actor, he's been off the role in the movie, and he's that guy in the movie where it's like he can peep on the girls, but it's okay, he's harmless because no one would ever want to actually touch him in real life.
He's the adorable creep.
He was the adorable creep.
He's the cute creep.
They broke down the car, and there was the other creep who was creeping all over the girls, being an absolute creepy creep.
There's like different levels of creepiness in this film.
He just he makes insane noises and faces. He's looking through the peephole, and then he turns around and goes, "Yeah!"
I forgot about the peephole scene. I can't fully endorse this film because of that reason entirely. Like I love it because it's a Bollywood version of A Nightmare on Elm Street. What's not to love, but also
it's pretty.
The misogyny is so ripe and so fucking uncomfortable throughout the entire thing. I don't know whether this is like. I mean, the director. I'm not sure.
Oh, that same peephole scene. The lady that's been spied on opens the door, takes them both in by the ear, and beats them.
Just beats the fuck out of them. Like that I did appreciate a little bit. Like the fact that we get to watch her beat the fuck out of them and like just completely bloody them up.
Like the actual sexual assault scenes with Anita, they're all. The guy that's like, I think the guy who's actually in love with her, this person who's creeping on her may not be dating her, it's hard to fucking tell. But she's saved by a man every time, and it's always this kick-ass like.
Do you remember the second time when she was saved by Super Grandpa? And that was a plot line that just the film just stops. The entire horror story, the entire romance story, because there's a horror story going on, there's a love story going on. Gets stopped for a superhero scene where Super Grandpa from the past comes back. Well, look,
she gets taken for sex trafficking. Like,
Jesus Christ, how much is in this?
Her and a friend get captured, and this whole gang's like got them, being like, "Ha, you'll never escape your hours now."
Maniacal laugh.
And then Super Grandpa just jumps in out of nowhere, fucking bells on his arms, jingling away, talking himself up, and he just whips out a chain out of nowhere, wraps it around his fist, and goes all kung fu on everyone.
It's a very disjointed movie, to say the least. But again, I'm not sure whether that's just the style or not. I feel like what Bollywood is meant to interpret is similar, more akin to a musical, I feel like, with obviously they can adapt whatever they want. And I feel like that's almost the reason for the 2.5 hours, because I always feel like this could have done really well with an interval. Like, I feel like I could have had, like, we had to take a break halfway through because it was too much.
I was too much. Too much 5 minutes in. Sorry, 10 minutes in.
Oh, we checked the time.
10 minutes in, Liam turns to me and goes, "Oh, this has been great so far." I was like, "It's been 10 minutes." Liam's like, "No, it hasn't. It can't have only been 10 minutes.
It was 12 minutes to be fair, but it was still. It was
early.
So this director, Shaiman Ramsey, this director, this guy works. This guy looks like he's a tradesman in the industry. He's done like 32 films since he started directing in 71. And his last film came out last year, so he's still up to date with directing in Bollywood. So he must be a big deal.
Better than this one.
Well, I mean, this is it. Like, he made 32 films. His last film came out last year. I mean, what's Wes Craven done for us recently? Like, I don't see.
He's dead.
That's what Wes Craven did. He died.
I guess that's a massive negative against his name. We needed more content, Wes.
I forgot Wes Craven was dead. That's really upset me now.
Yeah, man. Love Wes.
Oh, they're all going to go soon, and I'm sad about that. Speaking of other directors as well, there's actually this guy directed a Bollywood version of The Fog. Just like we'll throw Carpenter's name into there.
I shouldn't, but I kind of want to see it.
Another thing, it's 2.5 hours, so you probably don't want to see it.
Probably don't. I wonder how the ending is on The Fog on that one.
They all dance their way out of the fog. They're fine. Okay, but it's just like I had several out of body experiences watching this film. I don't know about you. Like it just hypnotizes you and somehow bores you to tears at the same time.
Oh, I wouldn't say hypnotize.
I mean, one of the things we're going to have to talk about the musical numbers, because that's kind of the crux of Bollywood in general. And I think the musical numbers are actually genuinely quite energetic.
They're energetic.
I think they're magical. No. I felt like a kid at Disney World.
Like, what's a true
whimsy
Bollywood movie that has effort put into it, you can actually appreciate them and appreciate the songs. They were repetitive. It was literally two lines repeated over and over. Every song.
I'm not here for this. Like, I'm not here for your negativity.
By the end of each song, I could sing them myself.
Well, that's the key to a catchy song, Ryan. That's just proof in the pudding that it's great.
Or
really.
an exceptionally repetitive song. It wasn't good. The choreography was a bit better.
I think
some of them.
I think it was just pure joy. I think it captures that almost spirit of like those 1940s musicals where it's just nothing but camp, and it's as camp as Christmas, really. And I personally really appreciate that as a avid musical fan.
It's repetitive. It's low budget. Not a lot of thought went into the
low
lyrics.
budget as if it's a negative, but
it was a negative. I couldn't tell who some of the characters were sometimes because the screen flare was so bad. All I could see was two eyes and part of the mouth.
It's called Atmosphere. Look it up.
It wasn't. I asked myself several times, like, is this Anita still? Because she was getting sexually assaulted the scene before. Next scene, however, we're at a disco and people are singing and dancing.
That was a little bit abrupt. Yeah, there was like this again kind of plays into why this film is. I mean, it is a train wreck. I'm not going to sit here and defend that it's not an absolute train wreck. There are scenes that go from intense sexual assault to disco, and it's just like
it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't tell you who the characters, why the disco in, like why the added disco.
Not only was this entirely tonally inconsistent, but it was also extremely insensitive. Well, yeah, but it captures the spirit for me of the early Freddy films anyway. Like I mean, because even the first one is Camp as Christmas. I think it's a better Freddy movie than, I mean, potentially 5, 6, and definitely the 2009 remake, which we don't speak of on this channel. I mean, let's talk about like just you're right, the low budgets, but I think that's charming rather than off-putting. Like the first scene with Nancy, I'm going to call her Nancy because I know it was Anita. Sorry, we'll call her Anita. That was the character's name, but I'm just thinking of Bollywood Nancy. That's because it's just the same fucking person.
They were.
She's like in a pit and she's in the dream world. She's in a pit and she's trying to get out, and she just keeps the prop department just keep throwing fucking plastic skeletons on her, and she keeps slipping on these plastic skeletons, and it's like rubber skeletons.
Like
it's $2.
Hilarious.
I kind of wish we'd done this for a main episode, if I'm being entirely honest, because I have a lot to talk about on this, but I'm realizing
time is ticking.
Yeah, we've got another one of these fucking movies to watch.
But I think, like, rare you will ever hear me say this, but the practical effects were pretty problematic.
I mean,
like $2 skeletons to start with. They had a floor scene, and it was very clear. They said, right, the holes are here, 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 and here. You can't move from this position while you're lying there.
But again, as an avid horror fan, and as a fan of horror who doesn't feel like budget needs to be, I mean, I'm on Evil Dead. Let's talk about Sam Raimi for a second. He made that film on what, like 35 cents? I don't know if that's accurate. It's probably not. But he made that film on nothing, and he had no budget. And you can do no budget and still be kind of atmospheric and effective and, I mean, genuinely scary.
And this was none of those. It didn't give us the opportunity to be atmospheric or any of those things because it jumped from scene to scene so quickly. Sorry, not quickly, abruptly. Every scene was long. Every scene.
You're not wrong. For a while, at least, I forgot this was a horror film. It probably has something to do with the fact that we spent the first 60 minutes of the film singing, and then like just about out of nowhere, again, one of those abrupt scene cuts, someone just gets eviscerated. I was like, oh yeah, shit, we're watching a horror film. That's right.
That's right.
There's no actual tension. There's no fear. There's no. I hesitate to say there's any comedy because it bills itself as like a musical horror comedy. And I'm like, yeah, it has one of those things. It has the music, I guess. But I kind of want to give it credit for the fact that it somehow manages to feel like 3 movies, 8 seasons of the best telenovela you've ever seen, and a semi-erotic horror musical all at the same time. And yet somehow achieves none of them?
It's none of those things successfully. No, it is all of them things and none of those things.
All and none, and
but like,
that's
again,
the best way to
like
describe
Snakes on a Train, it is less than the sum of its parts. It has too many things going on, and that has been a common theme, and these mockbusters aren't doing it for me so far.
I feel like a common theme is just snakes. I wonder if the surprise film 3 will have snakes in. And not,
did you pick a movie? Does it seem like it's going to have snakes?
Now I feel like I should have. I didn't. Now I feel like I should have to round out the trilogy. It is mad. It's just so fucking mad. I also felt like Mahakal looked a bit like Bollywood Christopher Walken. I don't know if that was just me or not.
Oh, a little bit.
No, but I was actually worried watching
grey
it.
face.
I turned to you like midway through the film and I was like, well, right, so a little bit of a story time. My first experience watching Nightmare on Elm Street, I was like 14 years old. This was way before the Buds, way before me and you even met. And it was actually the first time I ever got sleep paralysis. I used to do this stupid fucking thing when I was a teenager. I was like 14 years old. I used to put my headphones in to sleep, because it used to relax me, and I still put music on, to be fair.
Okay, don't do that at home. That's dangerous.
No, I won't. No, that is a bad taste buds. Do not try this at home moment. But yeah, I remember falling asleep. I remember waking up about 3 o'clock in the morning, absolutely shitting myself, paralyzed. And then I had a sleep paralysis dream with Freddy Krueger in it, where he strangled me with my own headphones.
I'm only sad I wasn't there to witness that.
But he was also the headphones, because of course he was, like, just in good old Freddy sense.
Yeah, because unlike Mahakali, he can do that.
Because, yeah, unlike Mahakali's creative and inventive. But this is the thing. So, yeah, I remember being strangled by the headphones. I remember waking up, and there was a song that was playing. It was this really creepy instrumental song by a Swedish band called The Sounds, and the name of the song was Freddy's... Was it Freddy's Home or something like that?
It's Good Night Freddy.
Good Night Freddy, that's the name of the song, yeah. So,
pretty good song, actually.
Probably my creepiest experience. If any paranormal podcasters are listening out there, want me to guest spot and talk about sleep paralysis, hit me the fuck up. But I was like, what happens if? What happens if I go to sleep tonight and I have the exact... Cause I haven't had sleep paralysis since I was a teenager. And I was like, what happens if this is the trigger? What happens if Bollywood Freddy Krueger comes back for me and this is my end? I don't know if I feel like that's the way I want to go.
I am going to round off the final scene, give my last thoughts, because I want to be done with this. Like, it was tedious.
Whereas I could go for another 2.5 hours.
Nah, it was tedious. Like, the way they got Mahakal, they went to see a guru, and he was like, yes, he's evil. If you chop off his limbs, he'll be weaker. And then you just beat the shit out of him until the evil spirit within him dies.
The end is quite
disappointing.
The last, 20 minutes or so.
Tell me it wasn't disappointing.
Well, no.
Right, so what happens at the end? I was expecting this full massacre where they chop him limb from limb and smack him about a little bit. But no, Anita's locked in a cage. The boyfriend comes in again to rescue her. He has his feet chopped off by a guillotine, and then he just gets crushed under some spikes, and that's it. I was expecting this. We've had so many combat scenes where people are jumping, flipping, kicking, punching, and this is how it ends. It is flat. It is disappointing, just like this movie, and I'm done.
Okay, fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Really went in there. Well, the ending for me, again, it just parallels. It actually kind of ends the same way Nightmare 5 ends, with them kind of fucking separating him and shoving him off in a different... Yeah, it's a weird fucking thing. The whole ending is very Dream Child for me. However, I just kept getting pulled back into it. Like, I feel like, regardless of the misogyny, regardless of the...
Wrong.
Can you let me finish?
You're wrong.
Can you let me finish? Yeah, 10 out of 10 will...
What?
I can't remember what I was going to say.
10 out of 10.
Right, so I appreciate this on a spiritual level. I appreciate this on a... This was either the most enjoyable film to film. Like, I feel like everyone's either having the best time, or it was a total fucking waking nightmare to film, because everyone's that kind of manic happy, where I'm like, right, everyone here is either under the thumb of a tyrant and they're smiling because they're scared they're going to get hit if they don't fucking smile, or they're having the best time ever. And I'm like, I felt joy coming from it. I don't know whether it was real or it was manufactured joy.
Hallucinogenic joy.
But I felt a lot of joy coming from it. And I can't confidently say it's a good film, because it's not.
Just go watch YouTube, find the clips with Canteen, and you will understand.
But I think if you're fascinated in this genre, you're going to get some pleasure out of it.
Nope. Like, I showed them afterwards clips of American cinema versus Indian, but you've got things like the Terminator there in India, where at least he has a fuck ton of guns come flying at him, and he just sticks them all together and just blasts the shit out of the police.
But Ryan, there was that one scene where that guy was in that prison cell and he had about 5 snakes on him, and that's how he died.
That's how he died, boys and girls.
This could be a sequel to Snakes on a Train, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. There was a lot of snakes.
A lot of snakes, there's a bit of guru. It's terrible. Terrible film.
I'm giving it 5 out of 10. I think it's relatively interesting.
No, I am done, and just tell me your movie, and it better be better than this.
Okay, so a bit of a tonal shift, I feel like, from the first two.
So no snakes?
I don't think there's going to be any. There might be like...
if there's a surprise snake.
There might be a surprise snake. I'm only thinking that because there's, religious elements to it, and I'm just thinking there could be, a Garden of Eden thing. It might be a Christian film.
Oh, why?
Well, right. We're going to take a venture into Faith Films, which is a company that worked in association with Asylum, so we're going back to Asylum.
Oh.
And we are going to ruin your childhood, my friend.
How does this one relate to Verhoeven?
Don't put this challenge on me. Okay, fuck shit.
5 degrees. But are we watching a Christian movie?
We are watching
Sweeten the Pot.
We're watching Sunday School Musical.
No.
And that's all I'm going to say on the matter.
I swear, if this is a 2-hour preach fest,
It's not 2 hours. That's fun. It's 90 minutes.
Okay, it's better than mine already.
No,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily.
Although we can compare apples to apples on music.
That's true. We will see you in a few minutes. Turn the podcast off, put the film on if you're a fucking sadist, and we will see you soon. It's a Sunday school musical, yeah. We're going to Sunday school. We're gonna learn about Jesus and other cool stuff. Sunday school musical, yeah. It's Sunday school musical. I really wish my parents didn't make me come here, so I'm gonna get bullied. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, wait a minute. Let me get settled in.
Hold up, wait a minute. Mr. Post.
Wait a minute. That's a Bruno Mars song. That's not. Yours is someone else from much long ago. From the way before.
Chirp.
Are you doing okay?
Chirp, chirp.
Not gonna lie, there were a couple of what am I doing with my life moments in this one.
Wait, as in, like, I need to join the monastery, or why am I watching this movie?
Yeah, this is the thing that finally convinced me. This is the conversion moment where I was like, I need to...
I am a bit concerned you're not talking about why was I watching this movie, because you seem to enjoy it a little bit too much for my taste.
But that's why I'm concerned. That's one of those, like, is this what my parents envisioned my future would be? Watching Sunday School Musical on a Wednesday night.
Mandy would be so proud.
I just feel like, right, yeah, my first thoughts, opening song, was, what I was trying to process throughout the whole thing pretty much was, if I do end up enjoying this, like you're saying, because there were a few times where I was like, this is
You
better.
kept telling me you were vibing.
I was like worried that I was like, am I going to have to move? Am I going to get put on a list if I say that I enjoyed Sunday School Musical?
Oh,
like,
so bad.
But there were moments where it was kind of wholesome.
The first song was fine. The rest of the movie was exactly, again, why I dislike Mockbusters.
Now sing the first song for me, Ryan, if it was fine.
It wasn't fine enough to remember.
Exactly. I mean, for a little bit anyway, I was kind of vibing to this movie, but in that most, like, I think this is immeasurably more exciting and more interesting. I don't know if I can use that word. I feel like that's I don't know if
I'm waiting to see where this is going.
It's better than Snakes on a Train, is where it's going.
Right,
that's where it's going.
Granted.
Because at the very least, it had one plot. It was your simple save the rec sender. Right, plot. Let's do plot. While we're here, let's do plot. I want to do plot. So there are two Sunday school choirs. There's the hip choir with all the raps and the funky
Well, it's not even
beats
that the hip. It's that the main character apparently is so amazing.
They're less lame than the other choir. And then, so there's the rival team, the boring choir, who need a little bit of extra spice in this.
They don't know how to sing and they're off-key,
because they haven't learned that singing comes from down within yet, so they're just singing without, I guess. I don't fucking know. Where did I go so wrong with my life? Basically, yeah, so there's this choir competition that they're both competing for.
Why does that sound like a question? Your inflection went up. Have you already forgotten what happened?
We literally watched this minutes ago and I'm like, right, what happened again? So yeah, choir competition, 10 grand in it. The church of one of the choirs is like really struggling with money, so they could do with that money. The fun hip.
Oh
hip
my
choir.
god, I've fallen asleep again.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my god, the first school needs the money for the school.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to
the main kid transfers over to the rival school because his mum's poor and
he falls in love with the girl.
The obvious girl.
Yeah, but then the other old choir gets mad, and then they have to team up together because they're stronger together. And God is good, and I feel like this one might have pushed me too far. It was simultaneously the most invested I've ever been in a film, and at the same time, the closest I've been to a full mental breakdown.
It shouldn't be. It should have just been the mental breakdown. This film, all it was elements of Sister Act.
Yes, very Sister Act.
They've taken High School Musical.
Yeah.
God.
A little bit of Showgirls.
And a little bit of Showgirls. He's like dancing on the roof angry, and it's just Normie Malone in a rage.
What was this? What Jack said in the last episode, in the Macamee episode, that everything comes back to Verhoeven?
Comes back to Verhoeven.
7 degrees of Verhoeven, whatever it is, yeah.
A roundhouse.
Literally every time. Yeah, no, so there was, it's just your very typical Save the Rec Center. musical. There's very little else to it.
When I say a sister act, I mean literally ripped off the fact that this kid is Whoopi Goldberg, knows how to sing. He has his choir together, moves to the shitty choir who doesn't have it together, teaches them how to sing in key, but now he's gone from his choir, they've all forgotten how to sing.
Because he's the spark.
He's the talent.
He's the talent. And so literally, genuine positives. Let's start there.
No, there are none. The all ripped off High School Musical directly in the song.
At the very least, they're all quite good singers. Like the Asylum and I don't know, Faith Films, or whatever. They don't seem to have a very good handle on the sound guys. Whoever's doing the sound mixing on most of these films, I need to go back to fucking film school, or whatever. Even during this, there's this ominous hum throughout the entire film, as if someone left a fan on.
Yeah, it's kind of crackling, fires of hell coming for them.
But the actual singing isn't the worst thing I've ever. In fact, it's probably on par with the singing in High School Musical.
It's not. It wasn't as good as High School Musical. The main character was comparable to High School Musical, but the rest, even the main female lead, she wasn't as good.
It's just there's very little in the way of actual talent here.
The songs weren't catchy.
Do you remember that phase? I don't know if you all remember this, but there was a phase where like really rich white kids specifically were like paying their parents to take them to those audio booths in like I think it was in America, and they were getting like
did that kick off?
It was the Rebecca Black. No, it was the Rebecca Black like theory. She basically paid for that music video. That's how it kind of felt. It was like this is just some rich white kids who were paying some audio booth to record a music video for them a lot of the time. And in that sense, it's no better really than a student film. It's still got that super low budget feel to it. A lot of there's a lot of meandering shots, that those extended sequences that Snakes on a Train had, where it's like, this scene has gone on for far too long. I don't need to see this character do their entire fucking homework.
Oh my god, or an entire sermon.
No, literally, like 10 minutes before the end of the film, we stop the movie for a full sermon, and I'm like, right, okay. I think if I'm watching this already, I'm either doing it for a bad movie podcast like this, or I've already bought into the concept of God. I don't need a sermon unless that's what they want, in which case, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, is that what Christian kids want to see? Full-on sermons? They get that in Sunday school anyway.
Right in, Christian kids, if you want sermons in your musical films.
But it's like going watching a movie about school and haven't listened to the entire lecture.
Yeah, but literally,
most kids don't want to listen to that.
At least this film had one plot. That's another compliment I can give it. It didn't have 8, and like Snakes on a Train did, and it didn't like convolute itself to the point of being intolerably confusing like Snakes on a Train was. At least this was like, at least you could follow this movie.
Kind of. I mean, for me, it was kind of weird that it was all good vibes and sensations. It was like...
There should have been a little bit of animosity. There was the bad guy, Miles, who looked like the gay religious version of Will from The Inbetweeners.
Literally looked like Will from The Inbetweeners. He was a briefcase wanker as well.
Literally.
Like in school, he was a briefcase wanker. In choir, he's a briefcase wanker.
My favorite.
And he gets over himself.
He delivers my favorite line in the entire film, and I don't know if you remember it, but it's when Troy, is it Troy, the new guy?
That's High School Musical.
No, what's this guy called? I'm sure he has the same name. I'm sure.
Unmemorable.
No, right. So when the new guy, Zach, transfers to his school, and this guy...
Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Confused.
This guy, Miles, literally turns to him, he walks in the classroom and turns to him and goes, "What in the GGG are you doing in my class?" And he's like, understandably confused. And he looks to another guy, he's like, "GGG? God's Green Garden." I now want to use GGG in every single conversation I've ever had with anyone. But the thing is, at least this has scenes where I'm like, that was funny. I was physically rolling
That
around
wasn't the word I was thinking for that.
I was laughing. I was having a great time because there was that, and there was the harmonica scene in one of the big dance numbers in the middle.
Oh, fuck
where they like stop the music, it's like, break it down, and it's just harmonica.
Not a good harmonica either. You can hear him blowing out and then going...
Some of these songs fucking slap.
This is the direct rip-off from High School Musical, Stick to the Status Quo.
Yes.
He's telling everybody, find your own thing, do your own shit, and you'll be a good singer. And this girl gets up with 2 sticks, and it's a big moment. It's like, yeah, unleash your inner beast. And it's the most pitiful little, like...
She very slowly hits it with another piece of wood. But then there's that really weird, because that same girl, there's like this character arc with her where she doesn't speak throughout the entire movie, and she's kind of
mate, she glows up.
She's the quote unquote quiet one, and then like 10 minutes before the end, out of fucking nowhere, like she's not any development.
I mean, she's a smart girl.
She's all that, sir. Or is that the right word? Yeah, she's all that, right?
She's all that. So like, she walks into the thing. She's like, "Oh, they won't let us perform because we formed 2 choirs into one. But I'm smart and I have an argument argument that will sway them. Basically, it's God is good.
God is
Let
good.
us sing.
Hallelujah.
Worked.
I mean, I don't know. I don't care what you say. You clearly have a much lower opinion of this film than me.
Clearly.
Because at the very least, I was remotely entertained, whereas I was completely repulsed by snakes on a train.
Yeah, Snakes on a Train is hard to compare it to, but like this was pretty repulsive on
But
its own.
at the same time, I could see someone having fun with this. I could see if you were that kid, or if your parents are super religious and not into kind of like, they don't want to show you Harry Potter, I want to hesitate to say I wouldn't vomit watching this as a child.
High School Musical is Disney and pretty Christian friendly in that regard. There's no like full on like let's have sex or let's party and
Speaking
drink.
of which, you
It's
were
all very
completely
chill.
wrong about the abstinence thing. No abstinence.
Oh, I am happy to report it wasn't very preachy.
Yeah.
It was very much
Apart from the
standard,
sermon.
like, God is good, let's all work together. The sermon was directly preaching, but it wasn't like preachy.
I liked it. I think this is probably my favorite Asylum movie. Because, and hear me out.
Wrong.
This one
Wrong.
feels like at least it has its heart in the right place. It clearly is someone who's like,
Satan is speaking through him.
no, I think this is like there's
It's a lie.
there's a level of wholesomeness and there's a level of earnestness to this that I actually kind of appreciate.
It's wholesome, yes, but it's literally a film company saying, how can we cash in on the Christian market? Let's just pick a popular movie.
And I think there are worse movies that do that. I think you could do worse somehow than Sunday School Musical.
I don't know. This is why I just don't like Mockbusters. This run has shown me again why I don't like Mockbusters, and High School Musical
I think you're just doing
Sunday
this.
shit is...
I think you're doing this deliberately so you win. Because, like,
Of
obviously,
course I'm going to win.
I just feel like Mahakal was such a high standard, and you've just made it impossible for me to live up to this high standard.
Of course.
And I just want to win. I always want to win.
You can't. This was bad. It was an interesting choice, but it was bad.
Final thoughts on this bitch, and I'm giving it a 4 out of 10 because there's someone out there who will love it, and I'm okay with that.
Okay, I will give it a holy cross on the choir scale.
I give it a you're wrong and you should leave.
I feel like that was complimentary, if anything.
I don't
So
know.
if you did agreeing with my past assessment.
Past assessment. I'm going to go to bed now and cry myself to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to pray for salvation, pray that I forget I watched this film, pray for my time back, and pray that the Christian community has better movies out there than this, because if this is all they have, sorry, guys.
If this is all you have, well done. This is a masterpiece if I've ever seen one. I'm here for it.
Okay, clear dichotomy, go make your own minds up, and don't get back to me. I don't want to know anything about Mockbusters
Do not
ever
email
again.
Bad Days Buds. Do not DM us. We've now finally completed the trifecta of Mockbuster cinema.
What a long week this has been.
This has been a test for our relationship, I feel like. And you passed, so well done.
I passed. I'm about ready to drop you.
Well, you can't.
One more bad movie, Liam.
Oh. But that's our entire relationship done.
No more Mockbusters. I equally hated all three of these movies.
Such a grouch.
Just Mockbusters and... There's exceptional Mockbusters, there's exceptional Bollywood
You
films.
like Birdemic?
There's exception... Yeah. Birdemic and Mac and Me are the two acceptable Mockbusters.
The two exceptions to the rule.
They prove the rule.
They prove the rule.
The rest of them are just pretty flat for me.
There's another one I really like that we're going to actually cover in a main episode. I don't know
Which
if you want
one?
to ruin it. Well, it's kind of for you. I think you've seen it actually. But it's a little bit for Jack because it's
give it a shout.
the joke of the community Portuguese gremlins. We're gonna do Hobgoblins, which is one of my absolute favorite best worst movies. It's fucking hilarious.
Okay, it's been a long time since I've seen Hobgoblins.
Mystery
I'll have
Science
to come
Theater
back
do a
to it.
great episode on Hobgoblins, and that's kind of where I discovered it. So there are good mockbusters out there, but
also
tend
some bad
not to
ones.
be from the. I just think the problem is the Asylum. I think
Yeah.
the Asylum just doesn't do it for me at all.
They just want the money, Asylum.
Yeah, fuck you, Asylum. Which of the three, if you had to pick
No,
one?
in general, I'm going to break down.
You said no.
No.
He was like, no, sorry.
So the first one, the problem is there's too many plots. They're each 5 minutes. The dialogue makes very little sense. There's very little going on of interest and no snakes. So that one, I'm afraid, is struck off. I'd rather watch
Give it a
Snakes on
score
Plane.
out of 10, please, for the audience.
3.
That's generous.
3, yeah, it's kind of
Are
2.
you fucking serious?
2. I kind of like, the thing is, right, I don't know her name, but not the girl who was smuggling drugs, Crystal, her friend I kind of liked.
Okay.
That was about it.
That's enough for an entire extra point, because this is a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, a bit, yeah, lower. I was trying to be nice because you called me a grouch. The second movie, Mahakal, again, it was
This is
too
where I'm going
long.
to call you a grouch.
It had too many plots in again, and they weren't linked. The stuff that came out of nowhere, some of it was funny, like Surprise Grandpa Attack,
Super,
and
yeah. Don't go wrong with the surprise
but the
grandpa.
musicals were too repetitive, and I kind of want this, but in a better format. I want the songs to be better and more original.
I would
rather
watch
than,
Nightmare on Elm
I
Street
love
musical.
you, we're in love, let's dance because we're in love, and then it repeats that same tune over and over and over for every song, more or less. So there's no entertainment factor there. I'm sorry. I know you
I'm
did
angry.
like it.
I'm fully angry at this.
And Sunday School Musical. Let's get
School
that
Musical.
right. We don't want to get sued. The kid was a good singer.
Wait, give Mahakal a score out of 10. We're doing scores. now. We're doing
Mahakal.
scores.
Mahakal, I'll give a 5.
Right, we are not on the same page. I'm giving Mahakal a 5, and I liked it a lot fucking more than you. You've just slated it for about 10 minutes, and you're like, I give it an average score. I give it half.
Oh, I give it half because
Your score didn't reflect your words at all.
oh my god, these are arbitrary ratings that we're making up in our little head, and I can do what I want. If I want to say a 5, I can say a 5.
Fine.
It's a 5 because I like the concept. I like the idea of Bollywood Nightmare on Elm Street. But I would have preferred if they did something like Asylum, where it was more of an original concept. At least the other two, High School, Sunday School fucking musical, and the fucking other shitty one that we watched, Snakes on the Train, they both had original concepts. They may have been boring,
Stretch.
and they may not have been executed well, but I prefer something new to
See-
something rehashed.
All right, Ryan gives it 5 out of 10 and hated it. I give it 5 out of 10 and loved it. Do with that information what you will. No idea. Are you doing so? Because you're just you keep going off. You're going off now.
Final one. Sunday School Musical. The kid was a good singer, main character. Again, the songs were pretty dull.
Yeah.
The choreography was lackluster.
Yeah.
Like even when this girl's big moment to like show off her stuff and bang these fucking sticks.
This is gonna be our longest.
She barely
episode
touched
ever.
them.
Sorry.
It was pretty flat. It was just, oh, we have barely an issue. You've moved schools. I'm falling out with you because of it. Oh, you've left the choir. You're now a traitor. Oh, we have to work together. I'm not comfortable with this because we're still not friends. Oh,
I just feel
we
like
need to
you,
do this to be friends. Oh, let's do this. Oh, we can't win the money. Oh, we won the money.
You're giving me a headache.
Like every film we've watched this week, honestly, I feel a bit deranged. Like
You sound a bit deranged. I'm pretty calm, actually. I think I had quite a nice experience this
No.
week.
honestly, Sunday School Musical
Out of 10.
was
You say 6 or something.
It was a palate cleanser after the other two. It was a lot lighter in tone. It was a lot more understandable.
Swear to God, if you give this a 6
and
out of 10,
easy to
I feel like
watch.
I'm gonna nut you. Because you sound like you liked it more than Mahakal.
No, like 4.
Okay, Ryan
I
hated
know,
that
I
film as
know.
well,
My
and
praise is all over the place. My critique
Just a
is
little
odd, but it's just I hated it. Don't get me wrong, it was boring, but it was just so easy after the other two to sit through.
I'm going to rattle off mine because Ryan just spent 20 minutes rattling off his. So
I
mine's
feel
gonna,
good though. I am
feel
free.
relieved.
I am leaving. I'm done.
The spirit has got. He's left
That's all
the studio.
I need.
Bye. I'm going to rattle. This is going to be a whistle stop tour. Snakes on a Train, 1 out of 10. Completely fucking soulless.
Deserved.
0 love went into that movie. Makahal, 5 out of 10. I felt a lot of soul in a very messy, ugly film.
Agree with the 5, but in the wrong way.
I can't really justify or defend the misogyny. That's kind of where I kind of feel like it should be lower because of that. But at the minute, we're going to go 5. Fuck me, I'm doing it as well. Fucking Sunday School Musical. 4 out of 10.
Because it's so unmemorable, you can't remember the name.
There was like elements of wholesomeness and kind of a little bit of joy in there. And again, I don't think the music was that bad. I feel like there were some interesting-ish moments musically.
And they were moments. They weren't consistent.
No.
Like, literally, High School Musical is a better Christian movie than that Christian movie. There was no...
I don't feel like
there was very little thematic difference in terms of, like...
But at the same time, I also don't think it's a much better film. I know that might sound blasphemy, but I don't feel like High School Musical is that much of a better film. It's pretty much the same fucking film with no budget.
I know I said that I used to like it when I was a kid, but honestly, if you put on a High School Musical song, I will probably still sing.
You're a fucking idiot.
But it wasn't good.
I really...
This entire thing has been a flop for me.
Hopefully you'll enjoy next week's movie more, which... Oh, shit, it's Godzilla, isn't it? Fuck.
Well, you win some, you lose some. There's always
you win some, you lose a lot. Okay. I think that's it for our Mockbuster marathon. We are finally free.
Never been happier.
we are free now.
Back to the terrible, terrible movies that we all know and love.
I feel like I just vomited up several snakes. I feel like I'm purging. No. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We have gone through hell and back to make you guys laugh. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you didn't, don't tell me because I'll cry. Find us next week where we are covering Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, the 1998 Godzilla.
Yeah.
Piece of shit, but let's do it. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's not even enjoyable from what I remember.
But we'll find out. And then after that, we're doing our Godzilla history. And then we are doing a surprise movie. We are currently running a poll on the Instagram for you guys to pick which movie we are covering for episode 13. Please do check it out. And yeah,
I swear you better pick an entertaining
They're all
one.
good. No, I don't know if you've seen the Insta, but they're all good. They're like classics. I think we're going to end up doing either Super Mario Bros. Or
I've seen Super Mario Bros.
Amazing.
What's the other one?
Howard the Duck is. This is what I'm
doing. Well,
we're still in round one, but this is what I'm guessing that the two outcomes are going to be.
Of course.
But yeah, thank you so much. Do check it out. Check us out at Bad Taste Buds on any way you get your podcasts, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Bad Taste Buds Pod and Bad Taste Buds Podcast on Facebook. Thank you again for joining us for this Hellfest, and we will see you later.